Hey gang, Ronin here. As you can see in this game, I am playing the Tier 10 US Destroyer Gearing. Matchmaking, well, matchmaking's not too bad. There's no CV, that's really nice. There's a significant amount of radar in the form of the Annapolis, the Nevsky, and the Alaska. And there's also a pretty significant hydro threat in the form of the Sherman, which is definitely not a ship you want to run into when you're in gearing. Now, I have a pretty strong game here. I think I ended up over 2,500 base XP. You know, I'm not going to win any awards, but it was a strong game. But really, it's been a while since I updated you guys on kind of where things are for me personally. If you've been watching my videos any length of time, you may recall that I lost my wife to cancer a few months ago and have been, well, of course, grieving, as you might expect, well, yeah, I wouldn't wish this experience on anyone. And I truly believe this falls in the category of you kind of have to experience it to really understand it. But anybody that doesn't understand it, I hope maybe you never do. Let's put it that way. So, that is difficult enough to deal with. But there are also a lot of things business-wise and on a personal level that suddenly had to be done. And that is beginning to slow down. And in fact, today there is the formal celebration of life for my wife with family and lots of close friends. So today we'll kind of put a bookend on some of the, we'll call it logistical things that had to be done and that are a part of losing someone you love. So, this game, yeah, and I'll talk about the game a little bit more as we go on, but really I wanted, at least the beginning part of this game, to really just serve as a backdrop for me to be able to tell you how things are for me. You may recall that I was down to really no videos for a while, and then, was one a week or maybe two a week. And at this point, I'm up to 3 a week. And I'm really hoping to get back to 5 a week sometime in the next month or so. And that's kind of dependent upon a couple things. One, not having any new disasters to deal with, but also, things work related. And so that's my goal. My goal is to get back to doing this on an almost daily basis, having these videos coming on. I'm not quite there yet. I still have quite a few things that are not a part of what I would call my previous normal. Still, a fair number of things that were not on my plate before that are now. But although it's taken some time, I am beginning to get a handle on that. So I expect I will be able to be around here a little bit more going forward, and hopefully may be able to get back to what really is kind of, at least with regards to getting the videos out, normal. So those of you who are aware and have offered your kind thoughts and prayers, please know that I really appreciate it. This has been a difficult time like none I've ever faced, and it does me a world of good to know that there are people out there who care. So thank you. And with that, I will get into the game itself. Now, you see, I didn't push into the Bravo cap because I was concerned that I might push into the Sherman, but you can see the Sherman and the Neustrashimi are both at Charlie. So Bravo cap looks like it's probably something I can secure. Now, I'm going to have to keep an eye on the radar, right? So there's the Nevsky, but look at last known position for him is way out there. And then I run into the Kitakaza. Now, my only chance against the Kitakaza, because he's full health, is to use my smoke and juke. It's really the only chance I have, and I got to land a lot more shells than he does, because his guns are much better than mine. So you can see I'm slowing down, I'm speeding up, I'm turning out, I'm using the smoke. And I'm just trying to land as many shells as I can with each volley. So we're at 29 shells on his ship now, and I'm winning this fight. And he still can't see me, but because he fired and we had Des Moines out there, I can see him. Now he's realized that, and he's trying to slow down and stop, but it's way too late. He's in big trouble. And I really dodged a bullet there because running into a Kitakaza and a cap nose in like that in a gearing, that is an uphill battle. Now, I did land a torpedo. I saw all those battleships back there. We'll call it Charlie 6, Charlie 6, Bravo 6, somewhere in there. I did land a torpedo, although I'm not sure which red ship ate that torpedo. Now, what am I going to do here? Well, I need to get back in the cap. I wanted to buy a little bit of time. That's why I stayed out here for my engines to be a little bit more functional. And now that problem's solved. And there's the Annapolis. So it's a really good thing I didn't just push right into the cap. Because I'm sure he's going to... There's the radar. And I am just going to pencil up, try and create the most narrow profile I can. And I don't want him to not shoot at me, because while he's shooting at me, he's trying to get all his guns on me. He's going to sit broadside to all my torpedoes. And now I am out of his radar range, and I can just do a little wiggling, and I'm going to head right back for the cap. And maybe I can get torpedoes on the Montana before I start heading that way. We're going to find out. Okay. Now, what to do? Annapolis looks like he's just going to continue to run away. So I'm going to try for the cap on this side. Montana now seems to be the closest ship. So I think I'm probably safe pushing into the cap. Now, how do I know that? Well, if you rewind this a little bit, you will see that the Annapolis was in the center of where my radiolocation indicator was pointing. If you're not sure what that is, if you look at my aiming reticule, just above that is a little kind of white, well, there's two little white, we'll call it a curved line. That gives me an idea of where the nearest enemy ship is. And it's in that pie-shaped wedge that is illuminated on the minimap. And it shifted from the Annapolis to the left. And since I could see the Montana, and it was directly in the middle of where the indicator was, I knew that was the closest ship, that there wasn't a DD probably right in front of the Montana, especially since they've already lost the Gearing and the Kitakaza, and we know that the Sherman and the Nostroshimi were way over on the 9 and 10 line. So I think I'm probably safe for a little while. And I do land a couple torpedoes on the Montana. So I'm able to get into the cap. Looks like I'll probably be able to secure that. Myself and the guns of the Petro and the Annapolis, and to probably a lesser extent the Des Moines, push their Annapolis way back there. And now we've got basically a big bunch of their ships kind of forced back away from the actual battle line. They're all bunched up back there. Conqueror's heading right for where they're all bunched up. Now that can create a lot of really nice torpedo opportunities. So I may be heading that way. But I think Brindisi is heading also back that direction, which I'm not sure I understand, but he is. I'm not sure I can catch the Brindisi, but we'll see. Okay, so there's Sherman. So we can see Sherman, Nostroshimi, and the Yoshino all out there. Our Petro, if you look at his HP, he's down to about a third of his HP, so he's banged up pretty good right now. Oh, and just as I launch, the Brindisi slows returns. All right. That's okay. It's going to take me a little while to get out here, and I want to head up this direction. I want to get at least one, maybe two volleys on this big group that's kind of, well, up there. And then I think I need to turn around and go get in the face of the Nostroshimi. Now, I've got Annapolis behind me, so I'm looking at the Annapolis and I'm thinking to myself, I've got a little bit of protection here against the Sherman as long as the Annapolis is here. You can see he's turning. My guess is he's going to park next to one of these islands, probably the one that's just a little bit farther south. Now, I'm 22 seconds away from being able to put torpedoes in the water, and I'm just trying to decide exactly what I want to target and what might be dual purpose. Where might I put torpedoes where they have a chance of maybe hitting more than one ship? So I'm going to throw it in reverse here and try to get torpedoes out on this side of the island in the hope that maybe someone will head that way. Unfortunately, with Kitakaza now smoked up and shooting that way, probably not going to happen. So I'm going to go back the other way and hope I catch somebody going that way. And there's the Brindisi. I really got to watch out for him. Those SAP shells are absolute murder when you're in the DD. And the Sherman is probably not far behind him, and the Sherman is almost certainly going to try and cap. So there's the Sherman. But Annapolis has radar. Now Sherman has torps, but he's only got two, and they have a really, really narrow firing arc. He could potentially be firing them through the cap right now. So I want to get the island between myself and where he was, and it looks like I'm going to catch the Annapolis. You can see I've got my gun swung around this way, and that's something that if you get in the habit of, really will help you. If you're going to reposition and you have an idea of where you expect the red ships to be, swing your guns around to that side. And I do finish off the Annapolis. Sherman is going to push into the cap. As soon as he gets in the cap, I expect our friendly Annapolis to radar. And once he does, I want to be in a position to be able to put guns on the Sherman. I'm going to just use this position right here. I've got an island between me and where he's at. I'm using the indicator there, so I know he's there, just in case he pushes this way. But I can actually fire right over the edge of this island, and he can't see me. And he's smoking, but it's not going to help because he is radared. And he is in big trouble. And down he goes. And I was able to stay out of sight. Reversing kept me out of sight of the Nostroshimi, just barely. And now we have a 6-5 advantage in terms of ships. We've got a 2 caps to 1 advantage. We are down, 144 points? Something like that. Let's call it 150 points. Now I need to get out here and keep this Nostroshimi busy long enough for Annapolis' radar to come back up. Now if you look at the mini-map, there is kind of a pie wedge between where the Annapolis is and the Petro is, that if I can move to the north, will probably push the Nostroshimi into that little pie wedge between the Petro and the Annapolis. And I don't mind if I throw torpedoes. I mean, the hope is that I'm going to catch the Nostroshimi, but if he just knows that I'm here, he's going to want to get away from me, because he knows if he gets in a gunfight with me, even if he wins, he's going to have these cruisers targeting him. So I'm really, really hoping that by throwing all those torpedoes out in kind of a really wide spread like that, and you can see he is moving that way. He's going to be moving kind of southwest. And I'm going to ping on the minimap and tell my teammates, okay, here's where he's, where the indicator says he is right now. There are his torps. It looks like Annapolis is going to be good there. I think he's going to avoid those. And what am I doing? Well, I'm moving to secure the cap. Could I be out there trying to help find that guy? Yeah, I could. But there are 2 radar cruisers there. And I'm going to count on my teammates to take care of that guy. Yes, we got 2 battleships over there, but we don't know where the Nevsky is. So I have to be careful to not get radared and blapped by the Nevsky. And you can see the Nevsky is headed this way. Now Annapolis has fired off his radar. Nostroshimy is now visible and will be for a little while. So both Petro and Annapolis will be firing on the Nostroshimy. And he's in that pie wedge that I was talking about between the Petro and the Annapolis. Now, when one of their radars goes down, the other can fire off his radar. Now, it's possible that our Petro is going to get blapped here because he moved out from behind the island, which I don't think I would have done, but he did. Maybe he wants to make sure he keeps that Nostroshimy within his radar range. That is a possibility. But he's showing broadside to, well, there's probably an island between him and the Montana and maybe him and the Conqueror. But the Nevsky, he's down to, well, he's burning down. Well, he was. Yeah. Nostroshimy finishes him off. Doesn't even have to have help. Nostroshimy's got good guns. I mean, I've said in other videos, and if you like DD play and you haven't checked out my videos on the Nostroshimy, I really recommend that you do. It's a very fun destroyer to play. I'm hoping maybe to catch the Nevsky there, but if not, my guess is he's going to try and contest the Bravo cap, which is kind of what I was thinking he probably would do, and part of why I didn't want to stick around there and get radared, because Nevsky against a Gearing with 8,800 HP, I would not survive more than maybe 2 volleys. And by securing this cap, even if he ends up getting that cap, we still have a 2 cap to 1 advantage. We're still down 70 points, even though it's a 4-ship to 4-ship game and we have a lot of caps. And we're going to have all 3 caps. Okay, so we've got this cap. Now I'm probably going to be in radar range. Just kind of staying where I'm at if he pushes into that cap, and I'm aware of that. So I'm just keeping my distance, telling my teammates, look, he's going to be around here somewhere. He got ahead of my torps. Just barely, but he did.
All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
And he's got a 12-kilometer range. I'm trying to stay right around that. If he pops it and spots me, I'm okay with that. I just got to try and run and get away from him. And you can tell he's probably at full speed. Here come the shells. I'm able to juke the first set. Can I do it again? Yeah, kinda. Now what's he going to do? He's probably going to head between those islands, right? So I'm going to throw some torpedoes into that gap and just ahead of that gap. So if he goes through it, maybe I catch him with 1, maybe 2. If he stays on this side, maybe I catch him with 1 or 2. And here, well, probably now, I'm safe from his radar, because his radar only lasts 25 seconds, or thereabouts. So he is going to go through the gap. He's going to be on the other side. Annapolis is kind of stuck between the Nostroshimy and the Nevsky. It's not a good place to be. So I'm really counting on our Yamato to help out with Nevsky. Since Nevsky is going to be focused over that way, you can see the Yamato shells, and they really hurt. And I'm going to put myself in gun range. And he's going to be able to fire back, but maybe I can start a fire. If I start a fire, and then I catch him with that torpedo that I was talking about. Now I'm smoking up because I want to hide from the Nostroshimy. I don't want the Nostroshimy to finish me. I slowed down, and I do catch him with the torp, and he does flood. And that is the best of all possible worlds. Yamato finishes off the Nevsky, and that is the game. I just have to stay alive, and I can certainly do that. I'll throw some torpedoes out in the face of the Nostroshimy. He's probably pushing. I would be if I were him. Sinking me is probably their only real chance, and they have to count on me to kind of sit in the smoke in order for that to happen, so I'm not going to do that. This was a fun game to play. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for letting me offer you some explanation about where things are with me. Again, thank you for your prayers and for all your kind thoughts. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for joining me here today. Hope you didn't mind another Gearing game, but this was a fun one. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.